what I want to talk about with is productivity with Google Calendar and how you can get more out of that. So the first off, the reason is why, right? Before we go into this, and I try to do this in terms of tools and apps and stuff. Like, it's neat, but that's not the reason. It's got to fit into some sort of a framework or your framework rather. So for myself, my foundation or my framework, it has to do with time management. Okay, and this is something that I didn't do when I was younger, and definitely learned to incorporate. And that's basic time management or time tracking. And the reason behind this is if you're not really tracking the time it takes you to do things or planning ahead, saying I have this much time, then you tend to wildly under and overestimate how long things are going to take. And in general, we tend to underestimate because we think we're faster, and then you add too many tasks, and then you're totally screwed because your project runs out of time. All right, so that's the general idea. And as time goes on, you just get better and better about doing this. Plus, in today's world, it just makes your life easier. If you are using, and it doesn't have to be Google Calendar, but an online calendar of some sort that probably ties into other areas, especially if you're helping or working to run a business, that maybe you're managing calendar bookings. People are booking your time. You're a consultant. That you need to have your time mostly accounted for during business hours, so that then maybe someone could schedule a meeting with you, or you can look and see, hey, do I have time to take a meeting? Things like that. And then becomes important as well, like I said, about project planning. Okay, when you start to know, oh, okay, I understand that I need X amount of hours to do this sort of a task. And then once you get to the point of, oh, I want to hire someone, I want to delegate some of this. Now you have an understanding of how long that stuff takes. And it can, really save you a lot of time and a lot of problems too when trying to hand off these tasks. So with that said, what you want to do though is a lot of people, you start off, and I did the same thing with, you just create a calendar event. Okay, let's just say it's you need to write a blog post. This is a classic example. You say it's going to take you an hour, and so you just block off that time. That's a great first step, but it's the first step of many. And what you're missing out on there is having those resources at hand. So what we end up doing a lot of times is, well, you've allotted yourself an hour, usually takes a little bit of mental time to kind of switch into that from whatever you were doing. And then you're going to be like, okay, you need the folder, right? Where's the blog post go? Are you writing it in Google Docs? Where's that folder at? Is it somewhere down there? Is it supposed to be in Dropbox? Where are my resources? Do I have like a list of things to look at? Do I need any tools open to go? So I think you're seeing the trend here where a lot of times we waste that time. You got to open up a bunch of stuff. You've got to track down the right folder or whatever it is. And just by simply, especially for a recurring task, if you open that up in your calendar and then you add any resources you need in there. So for blog post, let's say, again, we'll use a Google Drive example. Let's say you have a folder for your post and you have maybe a template in there that you start with. So you include a link to that. So you can just click, it opens, you don't have to waste any time. Maybe you're using a tool like BuzzSumo or something else to research content. You have a link to that. Once you've logged into that, you grab that link wherever you are or wherever you want it to be, put it into your calendar event. And then do the same for any other resources you're going to use. Again, anything with like research or just anything you might need. You list all that stuff out. And then at the top, go back and say, what's the rough process for this? Do you want to spend 5 minutes kind of outlining or gathering information? Put that in there. And put in the rough steps. This isn't going to be really detailed. You could do something else, maybe in Trello or somewhere else if you wanted to, but this is just to get you started so you're not spinning your wheels thinking, okay, what was it exactly I'm supposed to be doing and where are my resources at? So just a quick calculation too. If this was something you could put into your kind of daily routine, and let's say you spend like 30 seconds, just 30 seconds, let's say 4 times a day looking for stuff when you have these kinds of tasks. So that'd be 30 seconds times 4 and 5 days a week, and we'll say 50 weeks in a year. Wow. Okay, so that's 30,000 seconds, which is 500 minutes. Okay, so that would be what? Yeah, that's right. A little over 8 hours. So you're gonna spend 8 hours a year just like looking for folders and doing stuff like that. And that's when it's fun to look at these numbers and be like, oh my God, like I can't imagine wasting that much time. Wouldn't it be nice to have that time back so that you're not frustrated, you're not just getting sidetracked. If you go and you need a resource and you're looking for something like BuzzSumo or you're typing it in, but then you end up in your email somehow, that stuff happens. So it's kind of a twofold increase in productivity right there. So hopefully you start doing this. It's one of those, again, like I said, it's simple to get started. but then the output can be phenomenal. You can really start saving yourself a lot of time. And then as you develop a team, getting them to do this will save them a lot of time, cut down on mistakes, cut down on their frustration. So to me, that's a win-win. Thanks for watching. You can stay up to date by subscribing right there. If you'd like to come join our free Facebook group about process, automation, productivity, all that good stuff, you can do that right there. Just answer the few quick questions and you'll be in.